Welcome to Val's Kitchen. I'm Val, and this is my kitchen. Today we're going to make pork tenderloin with apples, onions, and garlic. What I have is pork tenderloin. It actually has 2 small tenderloins in here. This is a little bit over 2 pounds. I like the Smithfield. If you have a favorite brand, go with that. So we'll open that up in just a few minutes. First, I want to chop up 4 apples. Got my apples, I've got some already chopped up, and I want to peel them also. We don't want the peel in there. So, and you can do nice thick chunks. You don't want to have all conformed the same size. We're going to have it right into a casserole that you have a top for. You want to cook it with the top for probably about 20 minutes. We'll see how it looks when it's in here. They don't have to be the same size. They are going to get nice and soft while they're cooking. And the flavor over the pork, once you serve it, is going to be delicious. So I've chopped up the 4 apples. Then I'm going to chop up an onion. And then in half. And then put them in with your apples. Okay, there's a lot of garlic in this dish. I use a whole head of garlic. Yes, I do. So you want to peel the entire head. Like I said, you just give it a little smash. It helps the paper to come off easily. It just peels right off. And I'm gonna cut each garlic clove in half and put in with the onions and apples. I'm gonna reserve about 5 of those cloves and cut them into quarters so that we can slice it into the tenderloin. I'm going to show you how to do that. So now we need a 1/4 cup of white wine. Once again, I like to use the cheapest available. I'm not going to spend a lot of money on it. I just want the flavor that it leaves the dish once all of the alcohol cooks out of it. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup. Okay, so now we're going to open up our tenderloins. There is a lot of liquid in here. This is not in a brine, okay? It's got natural juices in here. So what I like to do is go over the sink. I like to have a nice pair of kitchen scissors that only is used with my food, okay? And you can see it's leaking, so you need to do that over the sink. Okay, so like I said, there's gonna be 2 tenderloins in here. And these are the tenderest part of the pork. And you're gonna put them both in. Right on top, okay? Always wash your hands after touching the pork. So now these little pieces of garlic that I cut into quarters, I'm going to take a pointy knife and cut little slits and push the garlic into and try to scatter them around. I'm gonna just make a slit, push the garlic all the way in so you can't see it. I have all the garlic pieces pushed into the tenderloin. Now I'm going to sprinkle it with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And I have fresh rosemary to put on top. I'm also going to put some dried rosemary around it. I really like the taste of the rosemary in this dish. So let's go ahead and sprinkle it with salt and pepper. I try to keep the one hand for the meat, one hand to touch my spices. Sprinkle a nice layer of salt over the top. Got some pepper. I'm going to sprinkle on top. Some garlic powder. Just sprinkle it over the top. Then you're going to want to flip the meat over. Again, I'm only using one hand to pick up the spices. Want to do the same thing. I'm going to salt it. Pepper. Garlic. Okay, so now I'm going to go with the rosemary. This is the dried rosemary. I'm going to take about a 1/2 teaspoon of rosemary. I like to crush it before letting it drop in. And as I'm crushing it, I can smell the aroma of the rosemary coming out. So I also have some fresh rosemary that I'm going to place on top of the tenderloins. About 4 sprigs. This is one of the casseroles that I use a lot, is this Corningware with the tops. I like using the tops. I do not like to use aluminum foil, but if you do, and you don't mind using aluminum foil, and you don't have a top, you can use aluminum foil to cover it. So we're gonna put the top on in a preheated oven at 375 degrees with the rack on the lower section of the oven with the top on for about 20 minutes. The tenderloins itself are probably gonna need about an hour. After 20 minutes, I'm gonna remove the top and it's gonna cook in the oven without the top for a total of about an hour. What I like to do with pork, I'm kind of old-fashioned. I know that now the rules have changed that you can eat pork a little medium well with a little pink. I prefer to have my pork cooked through. I do not like any pink. So what I use is the meat thermometer. And even on here, it says pork is done at 170, but if you look online, it says 160 would be the temperature you would finish cooking pork at. I will probably pull it out at 160 because after it sits, it has to rest for at least 10 minutes before you want to cut into it. And once you pull it out about 160, 165, it will go up to 170. So definitely want to purchase a meat thermometer. So I'm going to put this in the oven, let it cook 20 minutes with the top on, and then we'll take a look at it, and I'll take the top off and I'll show you what it looks like as it's starting to cook. Set the timer for 20 minutes. Mary and the apples. So I'm going to take the top off. Oh, that does smell good. So now we're gonna cook it for another 40 minutes at least. We're gonna check the temperature in 40 minutes to see if it's reached 160 degrees. All right, so it cooked 40 minutes with the top off. So we're gonna pull it out and check the temperature. You wanna find the fattest point of the tenderloin and put in. Okay, so we took it out after 40 minutes, and when I put it in the fattest part, it's at 150 degrees. I'm gonna add it to the oven for another 10 minutes. I think the 10 minutes was all we needed. Look at it already. It's right up to 170. I'm gonna let this sit for 10 minutes out of the oven, and I'm actually cooking my side dishes in the oven right now. So whoever's joining you for dinner is going to be very happy. 2 pounds of pork tenderloin, 4 apples peeled and chopped, 1 large onion chopped, 1 head of garlic. Cut 6 of the cloves, 1/4 cup of white wine, salt, pepper, garlic powder, 3 to 4 sprigs of fresh rosemary, 1/4 teaspoon of dried rosemary. Preheat oven to 375 degrees. Add apples, onions, garlic, and wine to a casserole that has a top. Place pork tenderloins on top. Cut a slit into the tenderloin and push in a quartered garlic clove. Sprinkle the tenderloins with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Then turn over and sprinkle with more. Add your dried rosemary and your fresh rosemary sprig. Cover the casserole and cook for 40 minutes. Remove the top and cook for an additional 40 minutes. Let stand for 10 to 15 minutes uncovered. Hey guys, thanks for coming to my kitchen. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If there's anything you'd like us to feature, go ahead and let us know in the comments. I don't know about you, but I'm getting hungry. I'll see you next time on Val's Kitchen.